Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma rabbi zidni ilma. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome dear students in the subject of Internet Architecture and Protocols. It's Ghulam Yasin, lecturer in Computer Science, University of Education Lahore at DG Khan campus. Lecture objectives. So dear students, these are our lecture objectives: to examine what an ISP is, to identify ISP architecture, to identify ISP infrastructure, to examine the main components and basic structure of an ISP. In the previous lecture, we have also studied some basic concepts about Internet Service Provider. In this lecture, we will study in detail about the architecture and infrastructure. Basically, this is concerned about the infrastructure which is used by Internet Service Provider. Internet Service Provider use different types of servers and equipments. In this lecture, we will study in detail which kind of servers and different equipments are used by Internet Service Provider to provide services to its customers and users. Internet Service Provider (ISP). An ISP is an organization that connects business or residential customers to Internet backbone. Basically, whenever we access different services of Internet, we have to use the service of an ISP, and this ISP connect us to whole the world using different types of equipments and infrastructure. Second point, an Internet Service Provider is a company that provides access to the Internet using different types of access which we have studied in our previous lectures, like DSL, like ISDN, like wireless access. We can access different services by ISP. Their customers can be businesses, individuals, and organizations. Definitely, ISP provides services to residential customers, to businesses, and to different organizations. The advent of ISP has made connecting to the Internet an affordable and convenient option for general people. Nowadays, Internet Service Provider offer different services at very low cost, and individuals as well as different companies in all over the world may be connected through ISP to provide different services in all over the world. And in Global Village, ISP has played a major role to connect people and to connect different organizations to access different services like online education, online services, e-commerce, banking, and so on. So, if there is no ISP, we cannot access all these services. ISP architecture. There are three components of ISP architecture. Number one, access networks. Number two, server farms. And number three, backbone networks. In next slide, we will study in detail about these three components, but over here we will briefly see what is access network. Access network is basically a method or technique by which we can access the Internet service. Like at home or in office, we use DSL, digital subscriber line, which we have studied. So this DSL is a method, a technique to access network. So this will be access network example, and there are different subcomponents of this access network which we'll study in next slide. Second is server forms. Server is very important in any network because whenever client will request, server will respond. So server forms are basic architecture components of an ISP. Last one is backbone network. Backbone network means by which company provide different services to its customers. In next slide, we will study these three components in detail. ISP architecture. ISP architecture can be divided into three components: access network, server forms, and backbone network. Access network. These are different types of access mechanism like dial-up access and dedicated access. In dial-up access, we use dial-up modem, ISDN, integrated services digital network, cable modem, and DSL digital subscriber line. We have studied in our previous lectures about these different techniques. Second is dedicated access. In dedicated access, we use dedicated lines in which we have to pay a lot and the line is dedicated, like frame relay, ATM, and lease line. Server forms. Servers provide by ISP to facilitate its customer for having the better and reliable access to the internet. Servers are those computers which are used for response or reply to the customers. Customers are user put request, and server is a machine, is a computer which will reply different queries to the customers and users. And there are different types of servers like DNS, FTP, proxy, and web servers. We will study all these servers in detail in our this lecture. And the last is backbone network. The networks that are used to provide the co-location to other network servers that are normally known as backbone network. Normally, when a specific company uses a specific server and there are distributed network, all those servers are connected and a user request can be processed from a specific server, but in between there are different servers. So this is our backbone network by which a specific request can be processed. ISP server forms. The main servers used in an ISP setup are RAS, which is remote access server, AAA, which is authorization, authentication and accounting, DHCP, which is dynamic host configuration protocol, DNS, which is domain name system, cache engine, proxy server, mail server, and web server. Dear students, all these servers are discussed in next slides in detail, but again, what is difference between client and server? Client is a machine, client is a computer which is called requesting computer, and server is a machine, server is a computer which is called replying machine or replying computer. तो सर्वर बेसिकली यूजर्स की डिफरेंट क्यूरीज को रिस्पॉन्स करता है, सर्वर यूजर्स की डिफरेंट रिक्वेस्ट को प्रोसेस करता है. तो क्लाइंट रिक्वेस्ट करेगा और सर्वर उन डिफरेंट क्यूरीज या रिक्वेस्ट को प्रोसेस करके को प्रॉपर रिप्लाई करेगा आफ्टर ऑथेंटिकेशन. ISP infrastructure. So dear students, in this slide you are seeing a diagram in which there are different servers as well as different devices. So first of all, you can see dial-in users and PTCL network. So what is basically this one? Dial-in users mean a user which is using the services using dial-up connection, and there is connection between users and PTCL, and after that there is infrastructure of ISP, remote access server AS5300. This is basically RAS server by which the user will access different services. Next is cache engine CE0505. Next is catalyst switch, and all these devices are connected to different servers: AAA server, mail server, DNS server, web server, and DHCP server. All these servers are used for different purposes. We will study in detail in next slides because our next slides are regarding these servers. But over here, simply all these servers are used to provide services, and there are different switches, and there is PTCL and user connection, and all this network is used to provide services to a user. This is backend of an ISP, which is used different devices to provide different services. ISP server forms: RAS, remote access server. Most networks offer some kind of remote access capability for users who need to connect to their network while away from the network site. RAS connects user over telephone lines through a remote access server to the Windows NT network. Once a user has made a connection, the telephone lines become transparent and the user can access all network resources as if they were sitting at a computer at the network site. So dear students, remote access means an access from a distance. Like we operate different devices at our home with the help of remote, like LCD and so on. So likewise, if we need to access services of a server which is far away from our home, then this access will be called remote access. Like if you want to access Gmail, Hotmail, Facebook, and so on, all these services are provided by a server, and this server is far away from our home, definitely in any other country, and this access will be remote access. And we have to use some authentication mechanism by which we can access these services. So remote access server is basically that server which connect remotely a user to that server which is providing different services. Dialing to the ISP. In this slide, you can see a dial-in user which is using dial-in services, and there are lines, connection lines between this user and the company, which is PTCL, and these lines are POTS lines or BRI. So what is POTS? Plain on telephone system, which is typically PSTN line, public switch telephone network lines, and the other is BRI, basic rate interface, which we have studied in ISDN, integrated services digital network. In ISDN we have studied two services, BRI services and PRI services. So the dial-in user will connect to PTCL with the help of POTS line or BRI services. And after that, there is a complete network. This network is of ISP network, and you can see access server, and this is connected with the help of PRI, primary rate interface, and the user is going to use modem, modulation, demodulation, and in this slide a user will connect to PTCL, and at the back end there is complete infrastructure, but over here we can see access server. तो इस तरह से डायल इन यूजर PTCL से कनेक्ट होने के बाद ISP के बैकएंड पर डिफरेंट सर्विसेज से अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट को कंप्लीट करेगा और ऑथेंटिकेशन प्रोसेस के बाद यूजर को वो डिफरेंट सर्विसेज मिलेंगी जिसकी वो रिक्वेस्ट करेगा। RAS रिमोट एक्सेस सर्वर, रिमोट एक्सेस टू ISP नेटवर्क। ISP नेटवर्क तक रिमोट एक्सेस के लिए हम RAS को यूज करते हैं। Assign DNS to the user. When user will put request for a specific website and that website or that web address is mapped with the help of domain name system, and RAS assigns DNS to users and user can access a specific website, assigns authentication and accounting server to the users. Whenever the user will use any account which needs authentication like Gmail, Hotmail or Facebook, and after authentication the user will get access. And what is accounting? Basically all the recording about specific connection, specific usage, the accounting server will record all these specific record. Provide multi-link facilities to the users. Nowadays links are multiplex and multiple user can send data at the same time, so multi-link facility is provided by RAS. Logging and authentication based on CLI. Whenever the user will use different services, all the record can be kept and this is called logs, and that logs can be accessed by the specific user. And the last one is configure packet filters. Whenever there is a threat of hacking or hackers can access our data, then we use different types of firewalls and packet filters used to stop the hackers to access our data, and we use specific mechanism by which we can stop different packets with the help of ACL, access control list, which is also deployed on routers, and in this way our network can be saved from hackers. ISP server forms. AAA server, it means authentication, authorization and accounting. What is authentication? Authentication means if you put your login and password and that login and password is correct, then the authentication is okay. If the login and password is incorrect, then the authentication is not okay and you can't get service. What is authorization? Authorization means after getting access, you may be able to access service. For example, after login Facebook or Hotmail, you can send an email, you can receive email, you can send messages. So this is basically authorization. And what is accounting? To record all the accounting processes, how many users, how many specific network is used, a user specific data connection and so on. It is clear from the name that it does three works. When a user request comes to the access server asks the radius server for permission to allow the user on the internet or not. जैसे मैंने अभी कहा कि अगर यूजर वैलिड यूजर होगा तो उसे ऑथेंटिकेशन के बाद उस स्पेसिफिक नेटवर्क को यूज करने की परमिशन मिलेगी, अदरवाइज परमिशन नहीं मिलेगी. The radius server is provided by the user ID and password given by the user, and on the basis this criteria it gives the user the right to get onto the internet or not. This user ID and password is present on the database server along with other information about the user. जैसे ही हम किसी भी स्पेसिफिक वेबसाइट पर लॉगिन क्रिएट करते हैं तो हमारी इंफॉर्मेशन जिसमें हमारा यूजर आईडी और पासवर्ड डेटाबेस सर्वर में सेव हो जाता है, और जैसे ही हम दोबारा एक्सेस करते हैं तो वो मैच होने के बाद हमें स्पेसिफिक रिक्वेस्ट के बाद हमें वो स्पेसिफिक सर्विस मिल जाती है. The rights given to the user on the internet are also decided by using these criteria. Authentication server, AAA or Radius, this is our continued topic. Radius protocol is mostly used for authentication. Authentication process के लिए Radius protocol use होता है और protocol हम पढ़ चुके हैं. Different types of rules and regulations to access a specific server. It is client-server protocol because whenever a user will request to access a specific server, user is a client and specific machine, specific computer will respond, that is called server. Maintains a central database of users' profiles. All the users who will create a login on a specific website, for example Facebook, all the data will be kept by central database. RAS works as a AAA/Radius client and passes information to Radius server for verification. Verification process is done by this server. AAA or Radius is a service-based protocol. We can set and maintain various parameters for client. Basically, this is server-side specific configuration by which we can set different parameters, like if a specific user on Gmail create an account, then how much space he or she will use. This parameter will be set on server side. Services provided by AAA or Radius. Username and password authentication. Static IP. First point is clear. This specific server will provide username and password authentication as we have discussed in our previous slides. Second is static IP. Static IP means if a user wants a dedicated connection, then a static IP is needed. So static IP is provided by AAA and Radius server. Point-to-point protocol, ISDN, multi-link connection, all these are again provided by AAA or Radius. These are services of AAA. Time-based authentication. Time-based authentication means authentication for specific time. If the user will not use the service for specific time, then he or she must be re-login. You have seen a message on your web page which is called web page has expired, like this. It means if for specific duration you will not use the website or web page, then you have to re-login. Charging based on per MB download. If we will use paid services, then we have to pay for specific data connection. Restrict to user only certain type of service like chat only or mail only. CLI based restriction, as we have discussed in the previous slide, this is also done on CLI service, which is basically logging and authentication based services provided by different exchanges. Communication between user, RAS and AAA. Dear students, अभी तक हम जो डिस्कस कर चुके हैं उसको इस डायग्राम में एक्सप्लेन किया हुआ है, उसको हम देखते हैं. First of all is user, next is RAS and next is Radius server. अब बेसिकली यूजर RAS से जब कनेक्ट होगा, which is remote access server, तो वो डिफरेंट पैरामीटर्स को यूज करेगा. अब वो पैरामीटर्स कौन से होंगे? वो पैरामीटर्स स्पेसिफिक ISP से जो उसने कनेक्शन परचेज किया होगा, ये बेसिकली वो पैरामीटर्स हैं कि क्या उसके स्पेसिफिक अकाउंट में उतना नेट को यूज करने के लिए उसका पैकेज है या उसके पास उसका ऑथेंटिकेशन है या नहीं। तो यूजर बेसिकली आईएसपी के रिमोट एक्सेस सर्वर से जब कनेक्ट होगा और कनेक्ट होने के बाद फिर अगर नेक्स्ट हॉटमेल, जीमेल या फेसबुक की सर्विस उसने यूज करनी है तो वो स्पेसिफिक रिक्वेस्ट सेंड करेगा और रेडियस सर्वर उसको रिप्लाई करेगा अगेन फॉर स्पेसिफिक जीमेल, हॉटमेल और फेसबुक. So in this diagram, basically user will connect to a specific web server with the help of specific mechanism which is username and password. But before this, it is compulsory that the user must have internet connection. An internet connection is provided by ISP after paying some amount for some specific duration for 1 day, for 1 week or for 1 month, for example, and this is done with the help of RAS, and the service of Gmail, Hotmail and so on is provided by the Radius server. Next server is a DHCP server. DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So before going to discuss the data in this slide, first of all you must learn about Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol in LAN scenario. Dear students, let's suppose we have a local area network scenario, and in local area network we have 30 computers and all these computers are connected with the help of a switch. If we want to send data from computer 1 to computer 3, then computer 1 and computer 3 must have some configurations, and one of those configuration is called IP assignment. And if there is no IP, these devices cannot send data among themselves. So IP assignment दो तरह से हो सकती है. एक तो हम IP assign कर सकते हैं static और दूसरा हम assign करते हैं dynamic. Static IP assignment means हम सिस्टम को ऑन करेंगे और IP एड्रेस की सेटिंग कर देंगे और उसके बाद हम हर सिस्टम को इसी तरह से यूज करते हुए IP एड्रेस असाइन कर देंगे. और हम IP एड्रेस कौन से असाइन करते हैं? वो एड्रेसेस जो फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट एड्रेसेस हैं, जो क्लास A के 10 से स्टार्ट होने वाले एड्रेसेस, क्लास B के और इसी तरह से क्लास C के डिफरेंट एड्रेसेस जो फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट अवेलेबल है. Second method is dynamic assignment, in which we use a specific server which assigns automatic IP to all these computers in local area network. Likewise, if we use WAN network, wide area network, then the client which is using internet service must have an IP address, and this IP address will be assigned by DHCP server which is in ISP network, and this DHCP server will assign IP address automatically or dynamically to the client who is using internet service. तो इस तरह से LAN में या WAN में हम IP असाइन के लिए DHCP सर्वर को यूज करते हैं. सो हम अब स्लाइड के इस डाटा को डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. When you dial up the internet using your home computer, you are using a temporary or dynamic IP address. Your access provider uses the dynamic host configuration protocol to assign your computer a temporary dynamic IP address from a pool of IP addresses. ISP uses a specific pool, for example 100 IP addresses, 1000 IP addresses or 10,000 IP addresses, and 10,000 IP addresses means at the same time 10,000 user can be connected to that ISP with the help of specific IP address. The dynamic IP address is unique only for that session. Once you disconnect, the DHCP server puts that IP address back into IP address pool so it can assign it to the next requesting computer. तो DHCP सर्वर के पास डिफरेंट आईपी एड्रेसेस है। लेट्स सपोज अभी हमने 100,000 और 10,000 की बात की। जब कोई यूजर इंटरनेट से कनेक्ट होगा तो उसे एक आईपी एड्रेस असाइन होगा और जैसे वो डिसकनेक्ट होगा वो आईपी एड्रेस वापस उस पूल में सेव हो जाएगा और जब कोई नेक्स्ट रिक्वेस्टिंग कंप्यूटर रिक्वेस्ट करेगा उसे उस पूल में से आईपी एड्रेस असाइन कर दिया जाएगा एंड दिस इज डन विद द हेल्प ऑफ DHCP सर्वर। DHCP details. So dear students, over here we can see the four words: discover, offer, request and acknowledgement. These are basically four steps on which DHCP protocol works. First of all is discover. Whenever the user wants to an IP address from DHCP server, it will discover if the specific IP address is available, then that address will be assigned to the user by DHCP server. Next is offer. If address is available and the requesting computer is a valid computer, then the specific address, specific IP address will be assigned by DHCP for some specific duration. And then request, and then acknowledgement. Request is requesting process and acknowledgement is basically like okay. Acknowledgement is positive acknowledgement and this is positive response from DHCP server. तो इस तरह से DHCP सर्वर को क्लाइंट रिक्वेस्ट करेगा, अगर आईपी एड्रेस अवेलेबल होगा स्पेसिफिक पूल में तो वो स्पेसिफिक आईपी एड्रेस रिक्वेस्टिंग कंप्यूटर को आफ्टर एथेंटिकेशन स्पेसिफिक ड्यूरेशन के लिए असाइन हो जाएगा. सो दिस इज अ सिंपल प्रोसेस by which DHCP server will assign an IP address to the requesting client. ISP server forms a DNS server. So dear students, this is our next server. DNS stands for Domain Name System. To identify an entity, TCP/IP protocols use the IP address which uniquely identifies the connection of a host to the internet. First of all, we will discuss this portion of this slide. Dear students, whenever you want to open a website, that website must be hosted by a hosting company. Let's suppose if you want to open the website of University of Education, you have to write www.ue.edu.pk, and after entering this web address, if you are connected to the internet, the website of University of Education will be opened at your system. But on the hosting side, if a specific website is hosted, then the specific IP address will be used for that specific website. उस वेबसाइट के अगेंस्ट एक स्पेसिफिक IP एड्रेस भी यूज होगा. If you will put the address, specific IP address, instead of the name of that website, then the website must be opened. If the IP address is correct, you can also use IP address as well as website name, which is called domain name. For example, again, if you want to open the website of University of Education, if you know the IP address of that website, then the website must be opened at your system. Second point, however, people prefer to use names instead of address. Therefore, we need to system that can map a name to an address, and conversely an address to name. DNS is used to get the IP addresses out of the name automatically. As just I have said that if you want to open the website of University of Education, you can use the website address as well as the valid IP address of that website. In both cases, the University of Education website will be opened at your system. But at the backend, the server will actually save the IP address. But we can't remember the IP addresses of all the websites. So that's why we use the website name. But DNS will resolve the website name to an IP address and IP address to website name. जब हम किसी भी वेबसाइट का नाम लिखेंगे या उसका स्पेसिफिक आईपी एड्रेस लिखेंगे तो वेबसाइट ओपन हो जाएगी. तो डीएनएस सर्वर आईपी एड्रेस को उस वेबसाइट के नेम में रिजॉल्व करने के लिए और इसी तरह से वेबसाइट नेम को आईपी एड्रेस में रिजॉल्व करने के लिए यूज किया जाता है. लेकिन क्योंकि हम तमाम वेबसाइट्स की आईपी एड्रेसेस याद नहीं रख सकते तो हम वेबसाइट का नाम यूज करते हैं और बैकएंड पर डीएनएस सर्वर उस स्पेसिफिक वेबसाइट के अगेंस्ट एक आईपी एड्रेस सेव करता है. DNS, this is our next slide about domain name system, default name server for ISP users. In this slide, we are seeing different systems which are servers. So first of all, there is requesting user, which is also client, and this requesting user will request for different websites name. And first of all is ISP name server, which is connected to requesting user. If the user will request for a specific website and that website is hosted on a specific server which is locally available, maybe in that city, maybe in that country, then the request will be processed from that city or from that country. So this is ISP name server which is locally available. Okay, next, if that specific website is not available on that specific local computer, then that computer, that server will forward the request to another server, and you can see over here ISP name server is connected to root name server if required. So this request will be forwarded to another server, and if that server will have that website which is requested by the user, then the response will be sent to ISP name server and ISP name server will send response to requesting user. But again, if the website is not hosted on root name server, then the request will be forwarded to another server which is authoritative name server, and again the response will be sent back to root name server and again to ISP name server and then requesting user. So basically, when a website is hosted at different location, the user will request for that website using different name servers, using different DNS servers, and this is a chain of different servers by which the user get response ultimately from that computer which is hosting that specific website. So dear students, this is last slide of our today's lecture. References. You can access some relevant material from here, so you must study from these books. TCP/IP Protocol Suite, 2nd edition, Behrose Frozen. Likewise, Computer Network, this is 4th edition, this is Tannenbaum. And Computer Networking, a top-down approach by Jim Croce. So these are different 3 books by which you can access reference material of today's lecture. So dear students, thank you very much for your concentration, for your learning, for your passion. I hope best of luck for all of you always.